It's no doubt that many young people today feel like it's difficult to get ahead. I think much of our system is designed to inhibit the traversing of socioeconomic boundaries. People always talk about the American dream, and it's well understood that the American dream most commonly exists in Denmark. Denmark is the country with the greatest social mobility in terms of being able to move from one socioeconomic class to the other. But the United States has gathered that perspective on the global scale very intelligently. It's an extraordinarily well thought out marketing slogan to brand yourself as the land of opportunity or the place where people come to grow and traverse social classes. And I think that largely it is true. The United States is probably the best place to do that if you want to become a billionaire. But general people traversing socioeconomic classes is much less likely. The number of people who move up or down is probably much smaller. It's harder in the United States, but it is easier in the United States to become a billionaire. And we celebrate these journeys. They occupy the public's attention, and it's an extremely sought after position to have that place, that phoenix rising from wherever somebody might have been before. And I think we celebrate those journeys so much because our system is not inherently designed for most people to have that occur. This is a great place for people who have made that choice to try and be that phoenix rising. But what this place doesn't do is try and instill that idea in people or that capability in people. The United States truly is a individual driven country where we respect the sovereignty and the capability of the individual, or at least we used to. And if you look at things like personal finance not being taught in schools, or kind of tax code stuff that you can just learn tons about how to more effectively manage your money. There's if you look at like the disparities in education between urban schools and non-urban schools, there it's very obvious that some of these problems could have probably been solved and have not been solved by anybody. Why is that? Well, I think there's a well shared understanding of like kind of don't ask, don't tell, don't actually try and empower your populace, but really just feed them enough such that you can continue to control them, sort of the bread and circus Julius Caesar type of thing. And I think that living in a place like that makes it extremely difficult to feel empowered to want to participate. I think there's an epidemic that is manifesting itself in the form of mental illness. I think there's an epidemic of disengagement and disconnection and discontent. And our sort of traditional way of looking at the world and being an employee and going into the cog is just a really difficult way to live. A lot of people advocate for running your own business and getting out from under the thumb of whoever else, and I completely support all of those things. But we don't teach those skills in school. The system is not designed to pull people across those traditionally hard to cross boundaries of social and economic kind of barriers. We're all hoping that we're the phoenix rising, the Bezos, the whoever else, And while those stories are celebrated, it's not completely unrealistic to think that we as a country could do a better job of giving more people the opportunity to do those things. And instead of calling people names, getting, putting limits on people, giving them medications, telling them they can't do things, they don't have access to whatever services. I think we are doing a tremendous disservice to our future generations by not investing in the creativity of our population and hopefully letting that creativity flourish and be the number one export of being an American. And I would love it if that would be the ultimate sense that defined Americans is creativity, empowerment, capability, agency. And I think largely that is the image that is portrayed, that exists of Americans, freedom, that sort of thing. But it's one of those things that, like, if you have to talk about it, it doesn't exist. If you have to talk about how free your place is or how, whatever, it's usually the people who boast the most who are that thing the least. I think we just have a tremendous opportunity to not misconstrue our personal feelings of discontentment with our our feelings of inadequacy. I think we can recognize that that is a manufactured outcome of this system. That feeling is a manufactured sense, and it shouldn't be the thing that allows us to feel hopeless. Manufactured hopelessness is probably a significant opportunity for us to rid ourselves of the shackles of manufactured hopelessness and access those skills and ideas that help us break out and not be living in a mindset that is fundamentally limiting, that is fundamentally not a growth mindset, that is fundamentally a victim or the world is doing onto me, pointing back at the world. It's their fault. And I know I spent the earlier part of this video calling out all of them, but the reason for that is to help people or help myself understand that that illusion of disempowerment is not something that is inherently my responsibility it's inherently my responsibility, but it's not inherently something that is representative of the authentic expression of who I am. It is a picked up sense of living in this country, and I'm just trying to point to where that came from, either manifesting through our relationships, my family, through my schooling, through wherever else. And we need not be beholden. We need not have that be something that hangs over our heads and prevents us from excelling and thriving in the world.